Well, today with me, I have Mr. Vishal from the Alphahead, and let's have a conversation with him about riding gears and what's the importance of all the riding gears in our life as riders. But before I do that, let me just explore a bit more about Vishal. So, thank you, Vishal, for taking out this time and joining us.
Thank you.
What do you like to tell our audience about yourself? Who is Vishal, by the way?
Vishal is somebody who has done a lot of things. I mean, of course, I used to have a regular corporate job once upon a time, but then riding has always been a passion. I've been riding motorcycles since I was 17 years old. So this is my uncle, so whom I derive my inspiration from. So motorcycles were always a part of my life. I mean, because my uncle was an avid motorcyclist. So we always had like 5, 6 motorcycles parked in his garage. So in fact, he was one of the first riders in Bangalore. Was one of the first 9 riders in Bangalore who got the Yamaha RD350 officially, and the keys were handed over to him by the Japanese themselves.
Oh, wow.
So the legacy goes way back. So I come from a riding family. Even my cousin, who's like about 10 years older than me, she's been riding motorcycles ever since I know her. So she is from that era of 100cc bikes, where in Suzuki was her bikes.
Oh.
So that is where our inspiration is. So naturally, so once I decided that I want to be my own boss away from that corporate world, so this came naturally to me that I should have a riding gear brand. So I started this brand in Romania, in Europe, in 2017. So Romania did not have its own riding gear brand, in spite of Romania being in Europe. So I had moved there on work, and I realized that there is a market there. And I also wanted to give back something to that country. How I could do that? I could only do that with starting a Romanian riding gear brand, and that would become a pride for them, right? So earlier they would buy like Alpine Stars, Dainese, Furigan, but nothing from their own country.
Yes.
Not a brand by themselves, and plus they had these local racing teams there, which would participate in Romanian, racing championships, Balkan racing championship, Turkish, Bulgarian, and so on. But they were wearing, their racing suits made by Dainese or Alpine Star or Furigan or name. So when Alphahead came into existence, we started making the racing gear. So they would be like Alphahead. Obviously, Alphahead was a Romanian brand. So that gave them a sense of pride. So just like in MotoGP, you see Valentino Rossi was wearing a Dainese. He's an Italian. He was, so and so. So that sense of pride came into them. So they started feeling good about it, right? So eventually, the whole idea was, to give a good, affordable riding gear. I mean, good quality. Obviously, when you are in Europe, you have to benchmark yourself with big brands like, again, I keep saying Dainese, Alpine Star, and so on, because these are the norms of Europe. So you need to have the right kind of certifications. You can't just one day wake up in the morning, I want to have a riding gear brand. It doesn't happen like that. So there's whole lot of exercise. But yeah, in the beginning it was like that. When I decided that I want to have my riding gear brand, yes, I quit my job and started designing on paper. But eventually that goes into different levels. So you have to first design on a computer. You conceive an idea, conceive a design. Then you go back, you make your prototypes. Like before we go into production, each model goes through a prototyping of at least 7 iterations. So we wear them, we test them in real time, and even if there is a slight correction or deficiency, or we think that improvement has to be made, that is made. So even with those prototypes, a normal everyday user will not be able to make out. So why am I telling you this? Is because we are precision. We believe in precision. I believe in precision. So there's no room for errors. So living in Europe for me was a boon, because that's the heart of motorcycling. All your riding gear brands were born there, not anywhere else but in Europe. And then you meet and you ride with a lot of experienced riders. For example, our racing lineup was designed by the racers who go on the track.
Ah.
So just not your the suits which were made for the track purpose, but also for the street purpose, because the fundamentals remain the same, right? So likewise, our touring jacket were designed by a person from UK and from Romania. So basically, these guys were really doing the real kind of touring. So we are not talking about somebody who does like 300 kilometers, 500 kilometers. Now these are the guys who have done thousands of kilometers, riding all the way from Europe to the continent of Central Asia, Asia. They have also come to India and so on, and they have used high-end gear. And when we were designing, so it was like the concept was from everything else, their personal experience and also the gear used already. So we are not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but we are trying to embellish it and make it better. So that's the whole philosophy of Alphahead. So personally, I'm first a rider and then a businessman. So when I moved to India in 23, I brought back Alphahead with me. So whatever we did there, I want to replicate here in India. So in Europe, we had about 35 products in our portfolio. We don't have such a big portfolio at the moment. We have started with a high quality mesh riding jacket, a high quality mesh riding pants, because we are still trying to study the market here. I mean, no offense meant to the viewers who are seeing, but I think when it comes to gear, a lot of education needs to be done. So just because you're touring, for me personally, touring is not like 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers. So you don't really need that, a fancy touring jacket which is long enough with a lot of pockets. You need that only if you're doing like a lot of kilometers and you're going through a different seasons. In Europe, it happens. In India, it doesn't happen. In Europe, you can find 4 seasons in a day. If you're traveling even 600 to 700 kilometers, in the morning it's cold, at around 11, 12, it's like blazing sun. And again in the afternoon, it might rain, you don't know. And in the night, towards the evening, it becomes cold. So you need a touring jacket which is versatile, where you have flaps, where you open. And if you're really doing a long haul touring, let's say 2,000, 3,000 kilometers, you already have luggage. Plus, you need those utility pockets. Otherwise, there's not much of a difference between a mesh jacket and a touring jacket, because these jackets are not made for impact. The protectors are the ones which are going to protect you from impact. So both these jackets have the same kind of protectors. So it's only functionality, right? And touring jackets are made for those adventure bikes which sit taller. That's why they're much longer. So why am I telling this is because in the Indian market, people need to be educated. Riders need to be educated. So there is a myth or misinformation which is going in the market that you pay more and buy a fancier jacket, you're safe. No, that's only psychological. So we will also have a touring jacket down our thing lane. But what I want to tell you is our gear is meant for everyone. So even if you buy our best jacket, it's made of high quality 900D fabric, which is certified and tested against tear and resistance. And we use level 2 protectors type B, which is again SafeTech Italian. They are more than enough to help you ride like 300, 400, 500 kilometers, right? And
That's good. So, if you see, I started the question by asking who was Vishal, and we now know this man is driven by a purpose. And Alphahead and Vishal are not separate entities; they are the same. Because when we talk about Vishal, Alphahead comes into being as well. So, thank you for that amazing, passionate answer. Just really enjoyed it. And what I learned is an Indian corporate employee based out of Romania, trying to give back to Romania with their own motorcycling gear
right,
by the name of Alphahead.
Right.
That's how it started.
right,
And Alphahead is by the users for the users.
Correct.
So these are designed by the bikers themselves.
absolutely.
And when you moved from Romania to India in 2023,
Yeah.
you brought Alphahead along with you in India.
Yeah,
And you see there is a big gap between the Indian consumer mindset or the Indian biking community's mindset and gears,
Right.
which I of course agree with you on
Right.
that. And I'm very sure I will get a lot of education from you today about many
Right.
things that you said,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it just zooped past my head.
Yeah.
like 900D fabrics, level 2, type B, safe tech Italian, and we'll all deep down into it as
Yeah.
we go
Yeah.
down the conversation.
Yeah.
So what we know is Vishal is very passionate about biking because he's a biker first, and then the gears. And now he gets to run his own gear company, which is started from Romania, came to India in 2023. So the brand started in 2017 in Romania, came to India in 2023, and now it's available in Bangalore as well, right? And we're just shooting this in Alphahead office in Bangalore, and so congratulations for that.
Thank you very much. And just to add, so of course, I moved to Romania much later in life. So I used to live in Ireland. I've lived in France. So my exposure was just not in Eastern Europe, but whole of continent of Europe. So even when I was there, I've owned different bikes, rode on different kind of terrains, those beautiful roads. Romania itself has many famous roads that people want to ride on. So having said that, we in India also have a very similar kind of roads which are good, but of course, I mean. Roads in the last 15, 20 years have definitely improved a lot. So we have all kind of terrains, so we want to kind of make the gear which is more suitable for Indian roads, right? That is one of the USPs. But then again, as a motorcyclist, I've not seen, this may sound a little contradictory, there's not much of a difference, right? Roads are roads. I mean, here the highways are good and so on. So it's just only what the rider's real needs are. So don't go for just fancy looking gear, and don't get confused with what is a touring jacket, what's a mesh jacket, what's a sports jacket. They all have dedicated uses, but then you need to see what is your real use. Just because it's a race touring, you do 300 kilometers, you're buying a touring jacket doesn't make sense, because it's going to become very uncomfortable. And because a touring jacket comes with a lot of layers, 99.9% of the time you will not use them, those layers, because those layers are pretty cumbersome and you don't need them in the Indian climate. Of course, I mean, in the southern part of India, it's mostly tropical climate. This year, it's been a little bit of a freaky weather where it's raining a lot, which it rained a lot. I mean, if you're doing Leh, Ladakh, Shimla, yes, it makes sense. But otherwise, I would like to reiterate again that for your everyday use, your normal riding, mesh jacket, as long as it's made well, that involves the stitching, the outside fabric, the protectors have to sit properly, not like, without naming the many brands, most of them are making like a sack. It's literally a sack. And then they give you a lot of, those ties, and you're just trying to put them, right? That's not how the gear is. This is what I learned while living in Europe. If you look at the kind of fit and finish that they have, like, brands like Speedy and all that, they exactly have to sit in your body like a glove. If you speak to a European rider, they will never wear something which is loose, because there's a strong logic for that. All the protectors have to fit on you like a second armor. They just become part of your body. And secondly, when you ride on the highway, if you're wearing loose gear, the wind gets into it, and then you become like a parachute. And then if you have crosswinds or there's a heavy vehicle passing by, those winds will throw you off. Especially if you're a new rider, even if you're an intermediate rider, it's going to take you by surprise, and you're not confident, and that can throw you off balance. So let me reiterate again, riding gear is not comfortable in the beginning. You have to get used to it. So it's just not Alphahead gear. Any gear that you go and buy anywhere, make sure that it sits on you like a glove. It will be tight. So please don't buy anything which is like very loose and those protectors are shaking. The same thing goes with the helmet. Helmet has to be snugly fit on you. I mean, I've seen many people here. I'm surprised I'll never see an S and M helmet size. They all have like XL, L, and I'm flabbergasted. It's scary because in incident of a situation of a fall, the helmet is going to fly off, and if it's going to be moving like that, it's not going to do the job. The same thing goes for your motorcycle gear also. It has to sit on you like a glove.
True, and I'm smiling on retrospective that my first gear, I intentionally brought it 2 size bigger so that it gets a lot of wind into my body, and I now know how wrong I was. Right? Okay, so you have been riding for a long time as
Yeah.
well. You rode in Europe, and you're now riding in India. Right?
Right.
Let's start with the basics. Which is your favorite bike?
Oh, there's not one because I mean it's difficult to say which is my favorite
Top
bike.
three.
Top three at the moment, I should tell you, Aprilia is my favorite bike. You can see like I'm also wearing, the Aprilia branded T-shirt. By the way, this is not from Aprilia. I got this printed myself. So of course, the RS 457 is a beautiful bike, and I
You
would
are riding
say
that now.
I'm riding that now, and I would say Kawasaki Ninja SX 1000, which is still available now. That's a beautiful bike as well because it's a sports tourer, so it does the job. I used to own that. You can ride it in the street, you can ride it like a sports bike, and if you want to tour with it, it will do the job. It's an amazing bike. And the other one is, again, I'll come back to Aprilia. I don't know why, because even before I moved to India, so again I'll go back to Aprilia Touareg. It's a beautiful bike. Again, it has that 660 engine, and at least when I was still in Europe, that was another bike. Uh, since I've said two times Aprilia, I will go a little further and say the another bike that I would really look forward to is the Yamaha Tenere. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want to do like off-roading, touring, I mean, that's a beautiful bike. Of course, sports bikes are my forte. For a very short time, I did ride a cruiser bike. But the way I ride, cruiser bikes are good, don't get me wrong, but that's not my style.
Of
I mean,
course.
people who want
It
to ride,
depends,
I mean,
yes.
absolutely. So I would any day vouch for, this is my personal opinion for me, for people like me, sports bikes. Of course, if you have to be fit to ride a sports bike, and that's one of the reasons you should get one because, you know that unless you're fit, you can't ride. Anyway, even motorcycling, any motorcycle you ride, you have to be fit. You can't just kind of be lax. So that's why I keep encouraging people to start riding motorcycles because it's a fitness by itself, right? So don't sit in the car always with that AC on. It's not good for you. Please get on the road, get yourself a motorcycle. It's also good for you mentally. A lot of things can be done on a motorcycle and plus a coffee.
I second that for sure. And now that brings to a very interesting question that I always have, because for us in India, right, we first buy the bike and the only gear we get along with that is a helmet. And then we keep on deferring our protective jackets and
Correct.
pants because we have spent most of the money on the bike.
Correct.
Right? How important do you think that the bike and the gear should come together and not separately?
They have to come together, right? You can't just it's like trying to bring a baby into this world without having the baby food. Right? It's like food for every rider. You just can't come out the moment you come out of the showroom. You have to wear the gear, you have to have the helmet, you have to have the jacket, you have to have the gloves. I mean, you can't say take chances. I've heard many people saying this, like what, in the city I'm doing like 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers. And I've heard scary stories of some people saying, even on the highway, so what, I'm doing 80 kilometers. You just got lucky. That's about it. I mean, I have seen horrible injuries happening, people falling at 15 to 20 kilometers. Because I'll tell you what, when you ride, you're not on the track. At least when you're on the track, it's very in a very controlled environment. You know you're going to slide. There are no obstacles, and so on. But when you're riding in normal road condition, your fall is very dynamic. I mean, the physics is going to take over. God knows from where all kind of forces are applied towards you. You don't know which side you will fall. So I would say it's very, very important. I would say at least basic is like helmet is definitely important. A riding jacket is very important, and gloves are very important, and definitely boots. If you're not able to afford in the beginning for a proper riding boot, at least get a leather boot which is like ankle long. Why am I saying ankle length? Because when you're riding, your ankles are very shin and ankles are very vulnerable areas, and you don't want a twisted ankle and then nursing it for 2 months. Many people give up on motorcycling because of these kind of injuries.
Oh.
So you don't want that. You don't want to give up on motorcycling now. Like maybe when you were like 18 years old, 20 years old, maybe you rode a motorcycle until you were 25. Back then you were not getting the gear. There was not much of an education. You were young. It's okay. But now, especially people who are coming back into motorcycling, people who are in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, it's very important for you to wear this kind of gear for your safety. I mean, you coming into motorcycling again because you're very enthusiastic. I mean, I disagree with a lot of people who say it's midlife crisis. There's nothing midlife crisis. There's nothing like that called midlife crisis.
True.
I mean, age is a number. It's all in the head. As
Agreed.
long as you can do things, please do it. Whether it's motorcycling or whether it's climbing the Mount Everest or anything. So you don't have to put yourself in a box. Many people buy cruiser bikes because they say I'm 40 years old. Who has told you this?
True.
I'm like 52 and I'm riding a sports bike.
Ah.
So don't please put yourself in a box and restrict, because this is something that artificially created by our society. Oh, at this age I have to do this. At this age, no, absolutely not. If you are capable of riding a 1000 cc sports bike, please do it. But don't do it if you're not used to it. That is maybe on a separate day. That's a different topic.
True.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, Vishal here is 52. He does not look like that, right? If you'd have told us he's 40, I would have still believed. 38, I would have still believed. So you don't look your age at all.
Thank you.
One thing. One learning that I got from Vishal today is racetrack is much more safer than our roads, because it's a controlled environment and the road is completely uncontrolled, chaotic environment over a period of time, and we don't know how dynamic the fall is going to be. And probably, if I can put Vishal's word into my own words, you first choose your bike. When you do the down payment and apply for a loan, if you are applying for, go and choose your gears, because the helmet is going to be given to you free when you get the bike from the showroom. Take your gears that day. When you are leaving the showroom with your bike, you should be completely geared, because you never know what is going to happen the moment you step out of that showroom. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And he put a lot of focus on the shoes, that you should have a good riding shoes as well. And if you can't afford a good riding shoes in the beginning, at least have a leather shoe which is ankle length, so that it can stop a lot of leg injuries. Because if you have a leg injuries, your riding is gone. You can't ride with an injured leg, right? And many people he has seen has left riding because of that. And he also has seen many people who are just riding at 15 kilometers per hour has toppled down and got a lot of injuries in their body because of the dynamic nature. So a gear is very, very important when you are choosing to ride. That's something very important. And don't worry about the age. As long as your heart is young enough, your mind is young enough, ride the bike of your choice. That's what was Vishal's message for all of you. If I can just sum it up in the right way. Did I did it in the right way?
Absolutely. I just maybe I also forgot to add this. Please don't wear sneakers. Please don't wear those Crocs. Don't wear those office shoes type. I'm telling you, those will not help you, or they may look nice on you. It's okay if you go for a movie, take a cab instead, take Uber, wear those, but not on a motorcycle. Please, on a motorcycle, it's my humble and sincere request that you wear proper gear, because you want to be riding for a long time. You want to walk properly. You don't want to feel sorry that oh man, I didn't do this. Of
Agreed.
course, I'm telling you again, I'm telling you, riding gear in the beginning, because you're not used to, is going to be a little uncomfortable. The day you get used to it, I'm wearing boots all the time, because I'm in a lot of these riding groups and so on. There are a lot of people who come and give this misinformation that riding boots are uncomfortable. You cannot change the gears. You cannot walk. All that is false. Trust me. Speak to any experienced person who's been riding for at least 15 years with gear. Not somebody who's bought a 100 cc bike just commuting from here there. Nothing against them, but those are not the kind of people
So,
to give you the correct advice. And also not somebody who's just 2 years old. Just no, I'm still learning. I've been riding for like what, 30 years. I own a gear brand, but I'm still learning. There's no end. Every day you learn something. There's no end to it. So this know-it-all attitude, please, I mean, leave it. I mean, listen to experts, listen to experienced people, and stop listening to people who are just giving, because these kind of advices are free.
true, right? Very true. Completely agree to that. So now we know that we have to have a riding gear when we are coming out of the showroom with our bike, right? And Vishal has told us that the riding gear should fit you like a glove, right? So it should be a bit tighter and it should not be flappy and loose, because that would create more accidents. So my next question to you, Vishal, is then what are the other things that we should keep in mind while we are choosing a riding gear?
Riding gear is, I would tell you, please don't buy anything that is in a budget. The reason being is because I have my own brand, and if we are using quality products, right, then it doesn't come cheap. the cost of making a quality product is not cheap.
Agree.
So when you go to the market, it will be expensive. Now somebody is offering you something for less. Be cautioned that they have cut corners and they're not saying or whatever they're claiming is absolutely not true. So if you're buying a gear, you know you're buying it for your safety. Now you're not buying a gear just because you need to impress somebody or just because you need to have gear. Don't buy it. So anything that comes in a budget, I'm not saying that you need to buy super expensive gear, but common sense should tell you that, if certain brand is pricing at 8,000, 9,000, and somebody is claiming it's the same kind of jacket you're getting for 4,000, it doesn't make sense because nobody is here to give anything for free, right? So if somebody is giving the jacket for 4,000 or let's say even 5,000, so what is really gone into making the cost? What is the cost of that jacket? 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, and what do you get in that? I mean, if you want a proper certified fabric and so on, there's a cost involved.
Agree.
So, as a normal person, you wouldn't really get to know the difference. Somebody might be using a bag material, whatever you, and the same thing. No. If a jacket is costing a certain price, that means it's come out from the factory, made for, for example, the fabric that we use. Now, this is used for tactical purposes. Now, this fabric is used by, the fire tenders, even the military. I mean, many people use this word Cordura very loosely.
True.
So Cordura is a brand, and how did Cordura come into being? Is during World War II. So basically, they were used by the U.S. Airborne troops. They had special jackets called flak jackets. So when they were jumping over Germany and so on, so the Germans would fire off flak. So flak is something like a grenade. It's timed, it explodes, and then you have shrapnel. So it was preventing the shrapnel. So Cordura is a very, very expensive fabric. Now, not everybody can use. Obviously, if you use Cordura, your price of the jacket will go up because there's a lot of royalty involved. Why am I telling you this is? Because I see a lot of brands very loosely use this Cordura, and they very funnily they say Cordura, Cordura, Cordura. No, I mean, but there are also equally other good companies who make tactical fabric, which is made for tactical gear. Now that is what we use. So with Alphahead, we openly put, I mean, there's nothing for us to hide. Anybody can come here, we can show you the certification, we can show you what we use, because it's a very honest brand. We're full of integrity because I'm like that personally in life.
Yep.
And I wear my own brand. I'm not like, I sell Alphahead, I'm wearing Alpine Star.
True.
No, because I'm a biker every day, I ride my motorcycle every day. I don't have a car for purpose because I know the day I buy a car, I'll get used to it, I'll stop riding. So for me, I wear my own gear. So that means I give the same quality to my customers. So that's the motto.
Agree. So what I get out of this is, like most of the things in our life, from mobile phones to shoes to cars to insurances, it also stands true for the jackets. Cheap is not best, right? And if you are going to buy the best jacket that suits your need, it will not be cheap, right? In the initial phases, but it will be very, very cheap compared to your life and the injuries that you're going to get if you're not using a proper riding jacket over a period of time. Thank you for that, Kondura. I never knew that. I got to learn that as well. And you use something which is 900D fabric, and I'll talk to Vishal about that as well. But let me assure you, every time I have seen Vishal riding, it's always on an Alphahead jacket. Always. I have seen an Alphahead on him and never any other brand that I can vouch for in this conversation, that's for sure. What is this 900D fabric that Alphahead is made up of?
So basically, when we say D, it's a denier. So this is with the weave of the fabric. So there are different weaves. There are Oxford weaves and different kind of weaves. So basically, a 900D, the tensile, tension of the fabric, the threads are much more. So they are not going to kind of tear off easily. So these are tested in the lab from the fabric manufacturer. So leather, I think, has something like 6.3 seconds of slide time. Only then after that it will tear. So for example, a 900D would have something like 5 seconds or something. So it's all about how well it holds. So technically, I might not be able to tell you the entire thing, but I'm just telling you in a layman's term. It's all about how the weave is done. So it won't tear off once it slides. It's able to hold that friction. So only after 5.6 seconds. Now let me tell you, in a fall, 5.6 is a very long time.
You
right?
fall in seconds.
Yeah, you fall in seconds. No, I'm telling you. So anyway, on the road, not necessary you're going to slide. This is not a track, right?
Yeah.
On a track, for sure, there are only two kind of falls. There are high side and low side. Low side, you will always slide. High side is a very dangerous fall where you will do somersaults, fall, and for that you have an airbag. Now, whatever you have for the road conditions, we don't know whether you're going to slide or you're going to hit an obstacle, somebody else is going to hit you. Now, that's all chance factor. But at least something is there to protect you.
So what I understand is that if I fall off my bike and if I have even this much of a slide,
Correct.
at least my skin is very, very safe. They're not going to come off.
Absolutely.
And I am not going to get injured in a deep manner. There will be no deep wounds in my body if I am having a good fabric onto my jacket. Right?
Yes.
So what I understand is all the protectors are to get the impact
Yes.
when I fall immediately, and this fabric is when if I'm sliding,
Yes.
my skin and everything is very, very safe. They will not peel off because of that impact. Right? That brings me to that impact.
And also, it's very important what kind of protectors are used in the jacket.
Yes, and you said you have level 2 type B
level
protectors.
2 type B, and these are safe tech. Now, most of the most of the European brands, they've done their protector brands. I'm talking about. They've done their R&D and so on. Because initially, let me tell you, before even it came into motorcycle usage, all this is basically built for military use. Let me tell you, most of the technology that we use, including our mobile phones, let me tell you, it's first built for the military, and then it's like kind of
mass usage.
It's like you're into in your profession as well. So coming back to what I was trying to tell you, it's very important on the brand of protectors that you use. Now, some brands are using some protectors which are made locally. I don't know. They may look the part, but they will not do the part, because protectors have to be made in such a way that when you have impact, that shock wave has to dissipate.
Yes.
So there is a lot of R&D which goes into when certain brands who are dedicated themselves to make these protectors. Now, you can't just make something which is foam, which may look this thick, rubber. No, it'll actually cause you more harm than good. You better don't wear anything, because the moment you will fall, that shock will directly go into your bones and
crack it off.
Yeah, you'll break. So it's better not to wear anything than to wear something like that, because it's highly dangerous.
Got it. And what is this SafeTech, if you can tell us about it?
Okay, SafeTech is an Italian company. Like we have SASTech, we have SafeTech, we have Knox, we have D3O. So D3O and Knox are from UK. SASTech is another famous protector manufacturing company, which is from Germany. In Europe, we used to use only SASTech. Like that, SafeTech is from Italy. So they're also a renowned company. And when we did our research, we found that SafeTech is pretty good. There's no problem with that. Yeah.
And all Alphahead protective jackets have a SafeTech technology inside.
Yes, at the moment, yes.
And where do you have it? Like only in the shoulders, in the elbows? Where are the protectors placed?
The protectors are placed at the back, on the chest, on the elbows, and the shoulders. And this is all inclusive in the price.
Okay, because all the jackets I have as of now, I don't have a chest protector in any of my jackets, right? So a chest protector is also very, very important, is what you're saying, while buying a jacket.
Right? Absolutely.
And what will be the average price of a jacket from Alphahead? Let's take it.
Right, our jacket costs about 899, which is like 8,999, which is 9,000 rupees.
9,000 rupees.
Yeah, which is pretty affordable for a premium quality that we are giving.
And how long would this jacket last for a user? If I'm wearing it every day, how long would it last?
If you use it properly, take care of it, I think it should last easily for about 5 years.
5 years.
Easily about 5 years. But bear in mind, there's a lot of difference between a leather jacket and a jacket which is made of polyester or nylon, because over a period of time, chemically made jackets, polyester is artificial, they will disintegrate. So please don't think you're buying not only my brand or any brand. If you buy cheaper jackets, you can just imagine the lifespan.
True.
Right? So please don't think that, okay, I bought a jacket, now invested 9,000, this is for my life. No. Please be aware that maximum is like 5 years. Anything beyond that you want to use, that is at your own risk.
So I will tell you something over here is it's not expensive at all. Because if I'm spending 9,000 rupees on a jacket which lasts me 5 years, it is not even 2,000 rupees in a year. Right? You can do the maths for a month or even a day. So I think it is like just if you can bunk one day of junk food, your jacket is in there for the year,
Yeah.
right? So it's very very affordable if you really ask me.
So I'm not saying that like the moment it touches 5 years, it will fall apart. No, it may even stay for 10 years.
But it is like the toothbrush; you have to throw it.
Exactly. So 5 years is what we tell all our customers. There is the safe. Like helmets. Every I think 18 months or 2 years, you have to change your helmet. I mean, we were trained this by the Honda. When we went for our traffic warden training.
Absolutely.
So it was very clear, and this is coming from Honda. It's not coming from any Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Absolutely.
It's coming from the Honda research team. Now these are the guys who buy helmets like Arai, Shoei for their racing teams.
True.
So they know what they're talking.
Absolutely.
So it's not like you buy something. Okay, I invested so much, it's forever.
So 5 years is what the jacket should be replaced for. Now that coming to, if you see, I'm already talking about jackets because most of us are not very very keen on getting us a pant, a riding pant, and we normally buy those knee guards and we put it on top of our jeans, thinking we are very very safe. Okay, so first let's come into the pants now. How safe are those knee guards that we put on our jeans?
See, those knee guards essentially are actually made for motocross riding, right? It's not for road use. And they are supposed to be worn inside the pant, right? And again, in motocross, even though they are dangerously jumping, leaping into the air, and landing on nothing, somewhere it is still controlled.
Agreed.
And these guards that you wear for the road use, it's not safe. One is because after some time, they're all with Velcro. That Velcro becomes weak. And you're passing many vehicles, you may hit something, it'll turn on the right. And generally, I mean, to put in a nutshell, they're not safe. I mean, many times I've seen, people's Velcros have come off because how long will it last? 6 months, maximum 1 year. After that, the Velcro becomes weak.
True.
So when you're riding, you have to shift a lot of times, and you're wearing outside, it's not safe.
I completely agree because I went for a ride for a 600 kilometers in a day. In the morning when I started, the patch was on my knee. When I stopped my riding, it was on my shin. So I could relate to what you were saying.
Yeah.
And so that's why there is a reason for having a proper riding pant, right? What all goes in making a riding pant? Like where are the protectors placed and how scientific?
See, not only I will tell you about not only about the pants and just about the pants. It also this rule holds good for your jackets. So again, let me tell you, when you're as a brand, like I keep coming back and saying that one day in the morning you cannot wake up and say that tomorrow I'm going to start a brand. It's not like a fashion brand.
True.
With fashion clothing, let's say a T-shirt or anything to do with a fashion clothing, you can get away. If the pattern or if the sizing is not okay, you can still wear something a little larger. You can get away with it. You can't do that with the gear because the protectors have to sit where they have to sit. Even like quarter centimeter here and there makes a lot of difference. And the same goes for the pants because they have to sit exactly in the knees. But having said this, this cannot be a strong rule because you will see, like, however hard you try, right? People's bodies are very different, especially when it comes to pants, because some people have a shorter torso, some of them have longer, some of them have shorter legs. Now if you have a proportionate body, that's what we make for.
True.
Now we cannot make separate gear for somebody. We can only anticipate. So when we design our master cutter, master designer, so he keeps all those that variation, or maybe 0.5% this side, that side or this side. So mostly it will fit everybody. It should fit. I mean, not only in my brand, but any other brand. This is how it is done. If it is done the way I'm speaking about, it should fit normally. Usually, it should sit where it's supposed to sit. If it is sitting below the knee, it's not good. I know there are a lot of brands who also give some sort of like a very free pocket, and they have what do you say, Velcro things placed there. Again, that is their designing philosophies behind it. We don't do that because we try to keep it as precise as possible. That's why our cost of making is high.
because the Velcro might even get off slide, or I might not have put it in
Exactly,
that correct
exactly,
manner where it is
exactly,
supposed to be put.
exactly. So what really happens is the more precise you get, the more you spend on the making of the the final product.
Agree. And how much does a pant cost
The
from
pant
Alpha?
is around 8,000 rupees, 7,999.
So around 17,000 rupees, I can get a pair
Yeah,
of
you can
both.
get a beautiful jacket,
And both of
the
them last
pants.
for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay, just let that pass.
Yeah. Again, that depends on how you are using your gear.
Hmm.
So if you have to maintain it now, let's say, I mean, we also give washing instructions that not to put in washing machines, because most of them really don't know this, because if you're going to use warm water, even 40 degrees is a lot of heat for a synthetic based jacket. So all your stitching is going to get loose, right? And then all that tumbling and all that is going to, even though it's made for motorcycle use, it doesn't mean that you have to abuse it.
True. We don't have to tumble it in the washing machine.
Yeah, like
it's for when you tumble on the road.
yeah, exactly. So
Agree.
it's like you can do that with your jeans and maybe with your cotton clothes, but then this is meant for certain usage. So just because it's made for motorcycle riding doesn't mean that it's indestructible. It has to be still maintained. So we tell people, like, take off all the this is again not special for my brand. Any brand you go, they all tell you this: take off the protectors, dip the jacket in some light detergent, soak it for not like 1 day and all that, maximum half an hour. It's really really filthy and dirty, maybe 40 minutes. Take it out, hand wash it, and just dry it.
So hand washing your gears also makes you stronger. Your biceps and your shoulder works really well, along with your chest and your back. So yeah, that's also another part of doing motorcycling. You will be much more fitter. When you ride motorcycle, like Vishal said, you will be fitter. And then when you wash your riding gears, you will be even become more
Right.
fitter. And what was surprising to me was that if I am going to have this kind of a good protective gears, both the jacket and the pant, it's not even costing me, more than 3,800 in a year, right? It's under 4,000 rupees in a year, which makes it very very affordable as well. And now we know how to take care of our gears as well. With that, what I'm also going to ask, is that what do you think if I am going to my office, right? Shall I wear my gears or no?
It's totally your choice. If you're willing to kind of see, I'll tell you something: gear is not easy to wear. So it's your personal choice. If you want to be safe, you will wear. Now, it is not something that I can tell you, yes, yes, you have to wear, because by law you have to wear helmet. Now people are not wearing the helmet. Just because they have to wear a helmet, they are just picking up some lousy helmet, even 50 rupees, 100 rupees. I'm just giving you some
True.
numbers.
Agree.
They don't fit you well. So it's your personal choice, it's your personal safety. For example, come rain, sunshine, I wear my gear every day. I wear my leather jacket every day. If I have to sweat, I will sweat.
True.
But that's my personal choice. So, like this, it is people's personal choice. Like I have said in the beginning, wearing riding gear, you need to get used to it. It's like, a lot of people say it's a way of life. This is also a way of life.
Of course.
A lot of things are way of life. A lot of things that we take for granted can be changed. So it's your personal attitude, it's your personal choice. The day you realize, yes, I'm wearing something that is for my safety, you will do it.
Very nicely put. And what probably I would add to what Vishal was saying was that accidents can happen within 1 kilometer or when you are riding 100 kilometers. So don't take a chance. And when you have an opportunity to have a riding gear at such affordable prices, which is lesser than 4,000 rupees in a year, why not invest in one and wear it every time you put your leg across that bike and you turn on the ignition? I think that's something
And
which is very,
just
very
to
important.
add to this, there's nothing called as light jacket, light pant. That's the biggest myth. If somebody is claiming that their jackets are very light, I can only tell you that they're cutting corners with the fabric. Now that doesn't have the kind of denier that a proper riding jacket should have. And the moment you have good quality protectors, no matter which, if they're really original, they will have some weight to it. Now there is no shortcut to it, because I've seen a lot of people. I want a light jacket. I want a light jacket. That is a light. There's nothing called as like that. How can you give a light jacket? Because if it's a proper protector, the density, the kind of materials which go, that will add to the weight. Or it's
agree.
just that you're not used to it, you feel, something uncomfortable. But there's nothing called as, for God's sake, a light jacket. There's nothing like that.
I will probably second that, because if it is too light, it is too flimsy, and it will not hold on in the time of an accident at any given point of time. So now the most important question: we now know about Alphahead, we now know about the technologies they use, we now know about their prices. But the most important question is, where can I get one from, right? So if you're in Bangalore, where do I get one from?
We have our office and a stock room in Sheshadipuram.
We'll put the address
Yeah.
at the link.
Yeah. And very shortly, we are in plans, we are in talks to go full time into riding gear stores, into retail. So earlier, the philosophy, or I personally believe, is that we wanted to go B2C. That means business direct to the customer. And the advantage of this was that we could give them discounts and so on. The moment I go to a retailer, obviously no retailer is going to sell it for free. They are going to have their percentage, and you will not get any sort of discount, right? So until now, we were giving discounts. Now the moment we are going to start going to retailing, even me as a manufacturer, somebody comes here, I cannot give the discount because I'm going to be undercutting my retailer. That no brand is allowed to do, and nobody can do it.
Agreed.
So now is the time. If you want to take advantage, please step in here. We can give you discounts. It depends, because we are working with certain riding groups. We are giving them 10% and so on, without naming which groups are those. So before we are really going into retailing, maybe in a couple of weeks we are going there, we will not be able to give you those kind of discounts.
So if you are coming into this Shishadripuram office, which is not very far from most of the localities of Bangalore, you can just drop in here, and he might be able to offer you a 10% discount on most of the riding gears he has over here. And here you can also try out the jackets, and we'll show you after this conversation how those tryout places looks like. But after a couple of weeks, when he is onto a retail store as well, he will not be able to give you that extra additional 10% discount, because you're going to buy it from that retailer. What I also learned was that you are also available online on your own platform.
Yes.
So Alphahead is also available on their own platform, and I'll again put the link below so that you can just check it off. And if you want to buy it online, you can do it as well. Okay, my question to you is, which is probably a question to all of the listeners who are listening: what happens if it does not fit me? So for example, I choose XL, right? And now I think, no, large would have been better for me. What do I do? Is there a return process? Can I return it to you?
Yes, absolutely. You have the flexibility to return the jacket, as long as it's not damaged or it's dirty.
It's not going for a ride.
It's not.
Wash
It's
and give it to
yeah.
you.
Please don't wear it for a ride, because it's like you wouldn't buy, right? It's
True.
a used. I mean, so as long as you it's intact, yes, we take it back. But what we offer is, I personally, I would do this even in for my customers in Europe. Of course, it's a little tedious process, but I enjoy doing it. Even before somebody is ordering online, let's say even if an order has come, right? I see it's come. Me or somebody from my team will call up that person, and we will actually ask their measurements. We will actually ask them to take a tape, measure their chest size, measure their, mostly it is with the chest, because that's how we have, designed. So we offer these services. In spite of that, okay, let's say the end customer, the end user feels that it's too tight, too loose, there's always a flexibility to exchange.
So you have a flexibility to exchange if it is not fitting you, even after all the tedious initiatives that they're going to take from their end to call you up and know your actual sizes, so that they can send you the right size to your doorstep when you're ordering online. And of course, all the tags and everything has to be intact for you to return it to Alphahead, and then Alphahead is going to exchange the product with you for the right size that you would require from them. That's excellent. So thank you so much for that.
And the reason that the reason that why we do this is because, again, like, people are not used to the gear, right? So we want to tell them, look, it has to fit you like a glove. When you will wear, we want to tell them, yes, it will feel tight and all that. A lot of people I've seen, I don't know, they come, they wear and do this. On a motorcycle, you're not going to do all that.
Yep.
So that moment will be restricted.
You're not going to wear the jackets to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do this. So
like this. All
Yeah,
like
you're
this.
this.
Like this. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, your movement is not so rapid. It's not like, it's not so fluid, what I mean.
Exactly.
So there's no point in testing, doing all this and all that. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
And anyway, when you are off your bike, you're going to open the chain and you're going to have a lot of movement when you're not
Exactly.
riding. So that makes sense as well. So now what we'll do is we'll do a quick tour of this facility and show it to you. And thank you, Vishal, for taking out this time for this
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you.
And we'll show you a few of the Alphahead products as well. Stay tuned.